写真家の菅原貴則です。小さい頃から生き物や自然が好きでした。特に野鳥には強く心を惹かれていて、その気持ちは大人になった今でも続いています。そんな鳥たちの世界を写真を通して多くの人に知ってもらいたいと思い、写真家になりました。今回、新しいレンズを手にしてみて、見た目以上に軽いなという印象です。その手触りの上質感というか、例えばピントリングの滑らかさだったり、コーティングのおかげでレンズが汚れにくいとか、細かいところ非常に配慮されているなというのを感じるのがこの150-400かなと思います。鳥の体の例えば目元やくちばし、羽の造形なんかがこれくらいシャープに映ってくれると後から拡大して見ることができて楽しいですね。オートフォーカスの動きが速いということが非常に大事だと思いますし、それが叶ったレンズだと思います。基本的には顔にピントを合わせたいと思っています。EM1X のバージョン 2.0 に入る鳥認識 AF には僕も期待を寄せています。出会えた鳥をまずは双眼鏡で見るんですけども、そこから撮れると思った時にさっと切り替えられると。でこの時間の短さ、このスムーズさっていうのが手持ちで撮影するメリットだと思います。でそれが 1000mm とかの超望遠で叶うのは非常に驚くべきことだと思います。結構な雨の中でも使ってみたりしたんですけど、もちろん防塵防滴で雨を気にしなくていいですし、雨で濡れたからといってリングの操作が悪くなるとか、そういうこともなかったです。内蔵テレコンを使うのが今回初めてだったのですが、ファインダーを除いたまま切り替えができるのは非常に便利だと感じました。例えば鳥を追っている時にあと少しだけ大きく撮りたいとか思った時にファインダーから目を離さずに切り替えができる。ピント位置も変化しないと。これを便利と感じました。2倍テレコンバーターを使うと 2000mm 相当になります。リラックスした表情を見るためには少し距離を取った方がいい場合もあります。2000mm 相当あればより離れたところから撮影することができます。小鳥のように飛び立つ動作が非常に速い対象の羽ばたく瞬間を撮るときにプロキャプチャーモードをよく使います。時間を遡ることができるので、飛び立った後にシャッターを押しても飛び立つ瞬間が映っているという面白い機能だと思います。これまでなかなか狙って撮れなかった瞬間を撮れるようになったのは表現の幅を広げていると思います。自分の姿を隠して野鳥を待ち伏せることもあります。そんな状況では自分は動くことができないので、ズームやテレコンバーターが重宝します。世界にはまだまだ僕が見たことない鳥たちがたくさんいます。このレンズを持ってこれからもいろんなところを旅して、1種類でも1羽でも多くの鳥たちに出会いたいと思っています。
Good day, everybody, and welcome back to my YouTube Live Wednesday. It is coffee time with Jimmy Cheng, and although I haven't got coffee, I have my favorite Pepsi Max Ginger, and I can see that I have a little bit of a different setup today, and I have a kind of proper light setup. So finally I got some light, and I have my boom mic here, and I have a little bit of color lights in the background, so hopefully it dress up a little bit, and it just feels more and more like a reality now. I'm finally moving to my studio and then finally starting to shoot something right here, so I'm very excited. So welcome to coffee time. Excellent. So before I start, of course, I would like to say some hi to all my regulars. I can see that already a lot of people that I recognize are already here. So first of all, good day, Nat from Australia, John from Manchester, John, another John, two Johns, John from Canada, Vancouver. Hey, Vancouver, buddy. I lived in Vancouver for 2 years, so I know the place very well. And Peter from Pedra from Norway, Chris Pearson. I forgot where you're from. Were you from Australia? So I can't remember you. Sorry. Marsha from USA, and it's Thanksgiving. happy Thanksgiving days for all of the US folks there. Theo from Netherlands, Great Mount Images from USA as well. Oh, Alfonso from Espanol. Oh, okay, right. And Boston Sideway from Manchester, UK. Roger from Ukraine. Oh, from Ukraine. Okay, okay. And Izuan from Malaysia and Casper. Hello there, everybody. Excellent stuff. Wow. Oh, from Seville. I love that place. Who doesn't, love Seville? It's such a magnificent, beautiful place. I loved it when I was there, and I was there two years ago. It was really cool. I wish I had a drone and I could have flown there and see the place from the air, because it's such a beautiful city, and lots of really old architectures there. I think it's a street photography heaven. If you haven't been there, try to go there in Seville in Spain. Beautiful, beautiful place. And Burana as well. Hello, Burana. And Roger, hello. Sorry, my eye's getting bad. I need to look over. Milano from Italy. Oh, okay, right. And Gloucester. Yes, Chris. Sorry about that. Gloucestershire, in UK. And Gareth, hello there. And James from Toronto. Yay, cool. Yes, Casper from Denmark. Okay, right. So today is once again a little bit of a personal video for me, and talk about my experience in Micro Four Thirds, and how did I feel, from a professional point of view, switching from a larger format to a smaller format. So I'm going to tell you all about it, and also show you some photos, like proper photo, like physical print here. So instead of giving you on-screen stuff, I'm going to just show you some stuff right here. And so it's quite a journey, I have to admit, and I'll tell you how I kind of got into Micro Four Thirds in the first place. And I want to hear from you guys as well, just to see what sort of experience you have. And it's a nice discussion to see, how you feel about using Micro Four Thirds as a platform, as your preferred choice of but for both photography and video, if you shoot videos. So it'll be kind of like a fun exchange in a way that I want to learn a little bit more about you guys and how you shoot your videos and photos using your Micro Four Thirds stuff. So let's start with me. So for those who don't know me, my name is Jimmy Cheng. I'm a professional photographer for over 15 years. And since 5 years ago, I started to shoot video content. So I'm kind of like a hybrid thing now. And so I shoot both stills and videos for different type of commercial projects. So I have a lot of experience in photography, especially since, like I said, I have 15 years of commercial experience. I started with Canon, and so I have been a full frame guy for quite a long time before I moved over to Micro Four Thirds. So when a lot of people don't know me too well, and just recently following me on YouTube channel here, and they always thought I have always been a Micro Four Thirds guy, or Four Thirds, or Olympus, like kind of thing. To tell you the truth, no, I actually switched over to Olympus professionally around about 4.5 years ago. Before that, I was basically full frame, anything Canon, anything Leica. I shot a little bit of Leicas on the side as well. Film photography wise, I still shoot film. I was using medium format, so I used my TLR, which is very old TLR, so I still use that for my projects. So Micro Four Thirds is only one of the systems I use, but nowadays in terms of digital projects and digital commercial shoots, I use Micro Four Thirds basically exclusively. Same as my filming projects, any videos I've done on YouTube, and any videos I do commercially for my clients are also shot with the Olympus Micro Four Thirds system. So there you go. This is kind of like a gist of it. But how did I get into Micro Four Thirds in the first place? Right, and you may have heard this story before. So I think around about 2012, that's the year you guys may remember if you're a diehard Olympus fan, because that's the year when Olympus released the magnificent original OMD EM5. That's the very first one. And it was that very camera that got me into, well, kind of propelled the Olympus name into my head. And I still remember that day that I was going out in Hong Kong. That's the time I was in Hong Kong. I was in Hong Kong shooting, so I had my camera with me. in my bag and everything, like big rucksack, 'cause, full frame, right? And I had all the lenses, speed lights with me, had a big giant rucksack. So I came up from an MTR station, which is like an underground train in UK, and I came out from the station in Central, and that's the station. I came out and I saw this big, giant, massive billboard right in front of me. So as soon as I walk up the stairs and I see this billboard, and then they had this really beautiful camera. It's an advert, and with a model, very kind of good-looking male model, and holding this very retro-looking camera. And I thought, initially, I thought the camera was a prop, and that's a fact. I thought it was a prop, for some sort of like a fashion, advert and things like that. And but when I look closer, and I started to see the word Olympus on the side of it, and it was the EM5. It was the EM5 advert, but it was dressed up so like cool. It's that advert just kind of took my breath away at that moment, that really split second there. So I kind of stood there for a good couple of seconds, just admiring that particular shot with the camera. And obviously I paid more attention to the camera, and I thought, wow, that is a really good looking thing. And then that day onward, the OMD camera got stuck in my head. It was a silver and black model, and it kind of got into my head. So I still didn't pay too much attention, because I still got a job to do. I ran out to see my client, and then did my shoot and did my thing. But the next day I had a free day. So the next day I went out to this shopping district in Hong Kong, in Mong Kok area. And I went to a camera store, and I just asked a guy, one of the salesmen in the shop, is like, this Olympus thing that they're advertising now. This I didn't know the name of the camera. So this Olympus camera that's on the advert lately. Do you have that? I just want to have a look at it. And guess what the salesman told me at the time? Is that, oh, that rubbish. No, you don't have to worry about it. If you want, I can show you some other cameras that we have in stock. And then he said, no, but I want to see the Olympus. That looks pretty cool to me. Now, if you want that camera for that sort of money, why don't you just shoot with Canon and Nikon and stuff like that? So, I have my Canon already. I want to see the Olympus. He was so adamant that I shouldn't buy Olympus. And but anyway, this is another story for another time. So I really insisted, and they finally took the EM5 out and showed it to me. And at that moment in time, I held it in my hands. Like, wow, that is an awesome camera. It's tiny, it's small, it's compact, it's very well made, full metal, and it's just lovely, And I bought it. I bought the silver and black model with the kit lens. It was the 12-50 EZ lens, the electronic zoom lens, and so I bought that. So that was my very first Micro Four Thirds camera, and I never ever used any Micro Four Thirds before, and that is 2012. But I still have to say but, because the EM5 camera wasn't my professional camera. And I still use Canon, and I continue to use Canon for a few more years. And but during this time, the EM5 became more and more important in my life, because I love shooting with that thing. And it's small, it's tiny, and that means quite often I leave my Canon system at home, and I just take the EM5 out with the kit lens. I didn't buy any other lenses, and then and whenever I go out with my family, or when I go travel with my wife, and I just took the EM5 Mark 1 with the kit lens. I didn't bring anything else, so it's so small. I fit into my little Billingham, and then I just go everywhere with that thing. The good thing is though, I managed to capture all the shot that I used to capture with my Canon system, but with less hassles and less effort. And that means that I have more energy to actually enjoy my travel. And that really kind of the message of Micro Four Thirds. And from that point on, I think that it's just becoming more and more apparent to me that having a lighter weight system, having a more compact system is beneficial to my needs as a photographer. Ultimately, you go out, you want to take a shot. That's the job of a photographer. That's your passion. If you are into photography, you just want to go out and take a photograph, right? Nothing else. That's the only thing you want to do. So having a bigger system doesn't stop you, but having a smaller system is a lot easier for you to take out the system. And after, I think it was 2014-15 when the EM5 Mark II came out, I upgraded straight away for a couple of obvious reasons, because it's got improved IBIS, and then it has a slightly better build, slightly better grip. Basically, they have refined the EM1 Mark I, which I just bought. It's got slightly better video options as well. And at that time, I was starting to kind of pay more attention to the video. So the EM5 Mark II seems to be the kind of like the perfect hybrid thing that I was going for. So I upgraded it to EM5 Mark II. I still have that camera with me, and I love that thing. And that camera continued to be my travel mate. Wherever I go, I just take that EM5 Mark II. But what that camera is also doing is being my spare camera. And so when I do a wedding shoot, I have my two Canon bodies in my rucksack. But I also took the EM5 Mark II with. That's the first kind of premium lens I bought in the Micro Four Thirds. That was the 12mm f2. So I bought that lens to improve the image quality from the Micro Four Thirds sensors, and that thing is beauty. This, you know, this is the lens that I really enjoy using, and you can see it right here. Oh, I was demoing something earlier. So this is the lens here. I can see that. And oops, hopefully it focuses. Yes. So this is that very lens that I got, and then I still have this 12mm f2. It's a perfect lens for my travel, and I have that. Then I also added the 25 1.4, the Panasonic Leica Summilux. The 25 1.4 is a basically standard lens. So I have these two lenses, and I just travel everywhere with them. It's beautiful. It was nice, and I took it, like I said, I took it to wedding as my spare camera, and I starting to shoot with it, you know, in the weddings for my candid stuff, and I've realized that when I look back at the photos after the wedding, I look at the photos from the Olympus camera, and it actually told me that I can possibly shoot with Olympus, even though that the EM5 Mark II wasn't technically or more capable in a professional level in terms of AF speed and burst rates and stuff like that. Because nowhere at the time competing with my Canon system still. You know, the EVF was, you know, just ever so slightly a little bit laggy. The buffer is not as large, so that means if I want to do a lot of continuous burst rates, burst photos, let's say for some fun moments, or you know, the bride walking down the aisle shots, if I want to just capture a whole series of photos, the EM5 Mark II would struggle, because after about like 4 or 5 raw photo is starting to slow down, so it's not really ideal for me. So I'd never really considered the Olympus would be the professional tool that I would, you know, that I'm using today. That changed. Everything changed when the EM1 Mark II came out. Not the Mark 1, but the 2. So when I saw the Mark 1 advert first came out, I saw the video, I saw people reviewing it, and I looked at it and said, oh, the EM1 Mark 1 looks cool. It's got the hybrid. Yes, it's got the hybrid AF already. It's a bit limited because the cross type face detection area is only limited to the central portion of the frame, so it's not like what it is now. But EM1 Mark II really changed all that, and it was fortunate. I was very fortunate to be invited by Olympus, and through a friend, not quite directly from Olympus, because Olympus didn't know me then. And so a friend of mine who were into publications, who did a lot of camera gears and PR campaigns for different camera companies, and Olympus at the time looking for professional who to test out Olympus gears. So my friend called me and said, like, oh, I know you use your EM5, so you know a little bit about Olympus and Micro Four Thirds. Would you like to test their new camera? I was like, well, why not? Why not? It's a free thing to try, and I always like up for it. So I got in touch with Olympus, and Olympus flew me to Ronda in Spain to test out the EM1 Mark II. So I spent 2 days testing it and looking at the camera. We tested in different capabilities. They took us to different places just to try out different features, and I can tell you that after that trip, I was totally blown away by the performance. And when I got back home, I looked at all the photos and everything on, you know, through a bigger screen, and I realized that everything that I've been doing so far, I could do with this very camera, the EM1 Mark II. then I just told myself that this could be it. This could be the turning point for my system. Because I had been kind of researching in a way, because back in 2016, 17, that kind of time, the mirrorless really coming through. A lot of people were starting to look at the smaller or more portable options. Fuji were coming up, and Panasonic, obviously, they're already a big time in the video world. Sony is really popping up. So a lot of people are looking into a camera system that is outside of the DSLR. So that is pretty awesome, right? And so I thought, okay, I mean, I did try the Fuji system. This, I like it in a little bit, but then it just wasn't quite there. I didn't feel that I have that connection there. And obviously at the time, the Sony and Canon, they didn't really have a proper mirrorless offering. They had a little M series, and then the Nikon has the J series, but they are just more like a consumer point and shoot with an interchangeable lenses. So there weren't really that much option, and Sony at the time was still kind of building up the system. They don't have a lot of optics, and so they still have to rely on adapting like Canon or Nikon lenses to the system. So there weren't many choices. Olympus, on the other hand, at the time, they have a few things. They already had the starting to have the pro lenses, and the 1.2 25 was one of the first one that they had, and then the 40 to 150 2.8 Pro, the 12 to 40 2.8 Pro already in the catalog. So that means if I want to switch over professionally, I could quite easily get something that I already need to use. So and so what I did was, when I got back to UK, and Olympus contact me again and said like, how was the trip? You know, did you like the camera? And I said, yeah, I really impressed with it, and it was pretty awesome, and I quite like it. And then the Olympus told me that if you like it, and we are currently doing what we call the pro loan scheme, so you can actually loan the entire system for you to play with for about 2 or 3 months. So because we would like more feedback from you, and you can take it to commercial shoot, you can do everything with it, and just let us know how you get on, and see what we can do. So I took the offer. So I bought the entire kit. So at the time they sent me EM1 Mark II, the 12 to 40, 40 to 150, 25 1.2 Pro, the 60 macro, a couple of speed lights. Yeah, I had a whole full bag of it, everything. So I took it to the wedding, and that was the very first wedding I used my Canon as a spare camera. So I still brought the Canon just in case, really just in case, because you never know, right? You know, you can't mess up in a commercial environment. So I had the EM1 Mark II. I put everything on, and shot the wedding basically entirely with the EM1 Mark II. I had a couple of shots that I still used the Canon at the time, and because I it's in transition, right? You know, it's quite hard for me to just suddenly give up something that I used for like the last 12 years, and it's really difficult. So so that's what I did. So I used the Canon as my backup, shot some portraits, but the rest of it is all on Micro Four Third. So after about 3 weddings, I was basically convinced, and I thought that the Olympus system is for me. So I talked to Olympus and said, "Right, your system is great. I think it survives in the commercial environment, and I loved it. And the actual image files looks great, no problem whatsoever." And so I decided to switch. And then they invited me to the what they call the professional switch program at the time, but they have lots of stuff going on at the time, and so I was featured in the switcher program, because I was a more established Canon guy, so they wanted someone who's established and move over to the Olympus world, and use me as an example for switching. So I did that, and then that's how I developed a relationship with Olympus, and they know that I was shooting in a professional environment. They knew that I shot with different systems before, and they value my opinions a lot of the time, and everything just built up on that. And then obviously the rest is history, right? You know, and I've just becoming an exclusive Olympus user, shoot everything with Olympus, and then I became an Olympus ambassador last year. And then that's it. So I think just to summarize, I think my experience with Micro Four Third has always been positive, but not without negatives. You know, I have to say, you know, if I said everything's great and everything's 100%, you know, like it would be kind of like a lie. You know, obviously I don't want to lie about everything. And the most most obvious downside or things I need to adjust to the shooting with the Micro Four Thirds system is, of course, one of the biggest thing would be the high ISO sensitivity settings. Like shooting at 3200, 6400. Having said that, because at the time I was shooting with the Canon EOS 5D Mark III, when I looked at the files side by side, regardless of, I'm ignoring the fact that, the Canon is slightly higher resolutions, but if you look at the high ISO files, 3200s, I would say that, yes, superficially, the Canon system is a little bit cleaner, in raw terms, but not by much. Not to the point that I would say that it's really clean, it's noise free. It's not like that at all. And then, so with a little bit of tweaks, a little bit of processing, I can live with the noises from Olympus. But more importantly, the Olympus noise does look a little bit more organic, so it kind of feel more like a film grains to me. So I was actually don't mind that at the time, and so it was okay, it was cool, and I found that the noise is a little bit higher at I think from 3200 onward, but not to the extent that I would say that what people are always saying, always 2 to 3 stops worse, in the Micro Four Thirds compared to bigger format. I never thought that, because look, I shoot 32, 60, 400s, very often in a very dim situation in weddings, right? You can imagine like churches, in venues, in indoors, dance floors and things like that is very, very dim. So I have to boost the ISO. So it's actually pretty cool. I don't mind it. But having said that, I can alleviate all that by adapting to the system, and that's why I want to share with you about how I see Micro Four Thirds as a beneficial system for someone like myself shooting a wedding or utilize depth of field, right? I know like a lot of people who first talked about Micro Four Thirds, about these shallow depth of field issues, and then say, oh, you can never achieve the same thing with a full frame or larger format for the shallow depth of field. You can blur everything out, kind of thing. I always disagree. As a photographer, blurry background is only one element of it, and you can't use it all the time. I'm telling you, being a creative, being a proper photographer, you only use shallow depth of field for certain things, not for everything. That people just these days, a lot of the time, they think that they have to blur everything out because that looks professional. If you're a professional, I don't think you'll be doing that at all. This is a false impression of all the people out there trying to achieve shallow depth of field, only because a lot of them are shooting with smartphones, smithing out all the other thing with like tons of depth of field there to play with. So they just find it, ever so refreshing to see something with shallow depth of field, and that's all. I think it's more about experience things. It's more a novelty thing. But once you wear out, once you shoot shallow depth of field like every day for the first year, you will get bored, and you're starting looking something else. Like more textures, and you're starting to use lights and shadow to shape your images and things like that. That's more proper photography. But never say never. You got to use shallow depth of field from time to time to isolate subject, maybe to get rid of some sort of distractions in the background. You do use that, but only selectively and more creatively. So I would say the more depth of field and the Micro Four Thirds system actually is a benefit for my type of shooting. Let's say in wedding situations, very, very often you will be looking at shooting with groups, shooting with like 2-3 lines of people, shooting with bride and groom standing next to each other, but not in line. And then, so if you constantly thinking about shooting wide open in full frame, you're always going to get one person in focus at any one time. Even with the 35 1.4 in a full frame, you are only going to get one person in focus if you shoot wide open all day long. That's impossible. It's not nice either. If you are in a wedding, you're only getting the bride in focus all the time and completely ignoring the groom. He's not going to be happy, or vice versa. And so the deeper depth of field in the Micro Four Thirds system really helps me. I can shoot 1.2 in Micro Four Thirds using the 17 1.2. I could shoot wide open, but its equivalent depth of field is about 2.4. So I can get both of them in focus at any one time while maintaining the 1.2 light gathering. And that's cool. That means that I could keep my ISO relatively low, even in a dimmer situation. I can keep it at ISO 400, ISO 800 even, and get rid of that problem. In the full frame, if I want to keep them in focus, like I said, I would probably have to stop down the lens from 1.4 to 2.4 or 2.8, maybe even 3.5. And then, and because of that, I'm losing so much light. And I have to boost the ISO to ISO 1600, 3200, maybe even 64, depending on the situations. So it's a massive difference there. So for people who are not really in the field, they don't quite appreciate exactly what I'm talking about. I'm not trying to convince other people to say that, oh, Micro Four Thirds can do everything. I'm not suggesting that at all. But I'm talking about application. I'm talking about like actual practical and actual live action. You're going out and do a job with the Micro Four Thirds, then you're starting to appreciate what the system actually brings you. I'm not even talking about portability. That's obviously the main reason and the main benefit of the Micro Four Thirds system. But in terms of practical shooting experience, practical working environment, you will find that Micro Four Thirds is actually, pretty darn awesome platform for working photographers. Of course, the Micro Four Thirds is still using a 20 megapixel sensor, and which is another thing I haven't talked about in commercial environments, is that depending on what sort of thing you shoot, of course, if you do require high resolution photograph and high resolution files for printing, for commercial reasons, then yes, Micro Four Thirds may not be for you, because at the moment it tops out at 20 megapixel, even though you may have the high res mode in the latest cameras and things like that. But there is some drawbacks and some limitation in using high res mode in such cameras, such as movement. You have to shoot in an environment which is completely still. There's no movement whatsoever to get a crisp shots. So, but I think that you just have to evaluate what sort of thing you want to do. And for my wedding shots, and frankly, and I'm telling you from my own experience, at least in the UK anyway, that the 20 megapixel is plenty now. It may not sound good to a lot of people because they're so used to hearing 40 megapixel, 50 megapixel, like this high stuff, but they just don't understand it. Do you really need those megapixels to print? I'm printing albums, wedding albums, like proper stuff, using my Micro Four Thirds files. And sometimes I do crop a little bit, so even then I still be able to print albums in a 10 by 14, which is actually a very decent sized album. And I could print canvases, because canvas you don't need to be pixel perfect. So canvases in like really big massive canvas, I still would be able to do the files and do that sort of giant canvases for my clients. No problem, never complain. They're very happy. They still pay me the same money as I did with my Canon system. There's no difference whatsoever. So you really have to evaluate what sort of needs you need. And plus, a lot of the photography these days, especially from the amateur levels, you are more likely to just showcase your work through digitally, through social media platform, through photo sites like Flickr and 500px, these sort of places. You don't really need all these high megapixel counts. You just need sufficient enough to showcase on an 8K TV, even if you have one. But 8K, how many megapixels do you need for an 8K? Not many at all. And most people are still using 4K, and 4K is 8 megapixels. So you do the math. So like 8 megapixels is all you need to show on a 4K TV to do the crispness, everything, like pixel perfect, on the 4K TV. All you need is an 8 megapixel. And Facebook, you can forget about Facebook. Facebook got so much compression. Even if you pump in a 40 megapixel files in there, it will compress down right to like 6 megapixel. So you don't really need that high megapixel count to showcase your work. And like I said, if you do need high megapixel in the future, then go ahead and just get other systems and use maybe in parallel with Micro Four Thirds. There's no stopping there. You can use whatever gear you want. And one of the good things that Olympus really said to me when I became an ambassador was that because they know that I'm a commercial photographer, I need to do my jobs. So they know that I cannot be restricted to one system. They allow me to use other things. So I'm still allowed to use my Canon if I want to. I'm still allowed to use my medium format stuff. I'm okay with that. But they never really stopped me from that. And I just told them, Well, but the truth is, 99% of the time, I use my Micro Four Third now, and as of about 2 years ago, it's basically 100%. I haven't even touched my Leica for about 3 years now, which is kind of sad because I pay so much money for that bloody cameras, and and it's now sitting there gathering dust, and I kind of feel bad for it. But anyway, so this is my story, and hopefully you guys enjoy it. And if you have any other questions and things, of course you can write down there. Let me see if you guys have your story to tell, and then maybe we can share some of your story and start looking at your comments as well. Let me just go back here to see your comments. Ooh, quite a lot of you actually started writing. That's cool. Let me just move my mic a little bit so I can get a little bit closer to the screen. So by the way, how's my audio sound today? Does it sound better? And because I'm really testing out this boom mic solution here. Hopefully it sounded okay. Right. Indonesia, hello there. And James Wong from Brunei, hello. Okay, Nat, right. This is your first comment here. Nat test. I was on Nikon Fuji years back before switching to Olympus E1. I made the switch because of the Zuiko lenses that were amazingly sharp. Absolutely, I think that I don't need to really advertise Olympus lenses, and I do personally believe that Olympus lenses are sharpest, in the world. And the reason I said that, I think I kind of said it in my last YouTube videos, the per gear lens review. Right, it's all because of the small pixel sizes in the Micro Four Third sensor. Like if you look at this sensor here, which I have the pen up here. So if you look at them, it's a tiny sensor here, but it's a 20 megapixel. So the pixel size is small, and to get a sharp image on such a small pixel requires very extremely precise optical designs. And I'm telling you, all the lenses I've seen so far, if you look at pixel levels, they are really, really sharp. And so if you scale up these lenses, you will find that even the kit lenses will be sharper than some of the pro lenses in full frame. And I'm really not joking. I give you another example, if you're not convinced of my statement, is that I have a £3,000 Leica Summilux 51.4 for the Leica M system. So this is a premium lens, expensive lens, 51.4 spherical. This lens looks like basically pin sharp, like absolutely sharp, on my Leica M. Like I would thought that this would be one of the sharpest lenses I've ever owned. Yeah. When I adapt to the Micro Four Third, my God, I could see the flaws. I could see fringing. I could see it just wasn't sharp. No matter how much I try to focus it, I magnify it, I just get to the sharpest point. It's just not sharp compared to my Micro Four Third lenses. But this is understandable because these lenses weren't designed for Micro Four Third. And when you look at crop sensor camera, and everything just got enlarged and they just blow up, and magnified. And this is when you see sharp on full frame, but it doesn't look sharp on Micro Four Third. So this kind of tells a story. And when you have a sharp lens on the Micro Four Third, it will go the other way, and that means it will be extremely sharp on the full frame. And this is kind of my theory. Obviously, it's not scientific, but I'm just telling you from my experience. I'm adapting some of the really high-end full frame lenses onto Micro Four Third, and it really show all the flaws and all the deficiencies in sharpness and contrast, which I thought, completely the opposite, because I pay so much money for it. Now I realize that Micro Four Third lenses are really, really sharp, and N3 lenses are definitely, on another level, especially in the Pro line, and which is downright amazing, to be honest, if you ask me. So let's have a look at another one here. So Theo, I've been a long time Nikon user before diving into your Micro Four Third in 2019. Ooh, a recent switcher. I know Theo. Theo has been a good mate in my Facebook, and he's also helping me looking after my See the World group as well. And he's a fantastic guy. This it's all about. I think switching is a big word. And obviously, especially for people who've been photographing for a while, whether you're professional or amateur, you grow attached to something. Not not just because brand loyalty or things like that. It's not about that, but it's about emotional attachment. You use something for so long, obviously you're kind of form some kind of emotion towards that tool, that you use every single day, or the brand is for that matter. But sometimes it's not just about brand loyalty. It's just that connections that you had. So when you switch, it's kind of like you are giving up something that is part of you for so long. So I always think that switching is is not easy, especially from a professional point of view. How often do you see professionals switch? These days there may be more on YouTube. You always see people, oh, I switch from Canon to this, I switch from Nikon to this. You hear switching all the time, yeah. And whether it's for advertising purposes or trying to grab attention from people, but switching from a professional point of view is never ever easy. First of all, brand loyalty aside, is more to do with investment. From a professional point of view, you invest so much money to buy the gear for you to work, and it's, you don't want to get rid of it, because just like any digital equipment, they say, if you buy it for $3,000, when you sell it, you probably get about 500. You're not going to get a lot of money back, and so switching means that you are basically writing off everything that you already invested for the past 10 years. That kind of happened to me, even though that I mean, I got something back, but not a huge amount. Well, that's another thing I haven't told you guys though, is that when I dumped all my Canon gears, like I said, I lost a lot of money because they were very expensive. But when I sold them, I have a pot of money, just a little bit of pot money, but that's enough for me to get the basic setup for Micro Four Thirds brand new. And that also shows that Micro Four Thirds actually is quite value for money. No matter how you want to say it, the EM1 is actually pretty amazing value for money from a professional point of view. I know people these days still comparing. Oh, I have no, for that money, for the EM1 money, I can buy a full frame camera. Of course you can, of course you can, but it's a different class. People don't understand the word class. I don't know why. I mean, I just don't know how they don't understand it. A full frame camera for EM1 money is a low end full frame camera. You don't have the features, you don't have the build, you don't have the weather seal, you don't have a lot of stuff. Yes, it is full frame, but the body is not built for the professional use. It's not rugged, I'm telling you. So if you want something that is equivalent, a professional tool, you have to pay. Now look at the professional line of full frame cameras: $2,000, $3,000, $3,500. These are the money you're talking about when you go for the professional line of equipment. Same as the Sony. And people say, oh yeah, the EM1 Mark II is so expensive, or the EM1 Mark III is so expensive. I mean, I can get an A7 III for that price. Yeah, like I said, the A7 III is the beginner level of Sony cameras, the Alpha 7 series. If you look for the A9, that's the proper professional stuff. The A9 costs $4,000. If you compare it, I'm accustomed to the ruggedness, the waterproofness, the weather seal, the dual cast slot, and everything. I need something like A9. I can't work with A7. It's not reliable enough for me to do what I'm doing for the last 15 years. So this is kind of, people can't understand really in terms of class. They're always looking at the money side of it, looking at the figures, looking at the numbers, but never really realize exactly what a profession really needs. And like I said, I can use any camera. You can give me a entry-level camera, I can probably still work, I can probably still do my job, but would I trust it? No. I mean, I wouldn't trust using my my EM10 for my professional work. Not that it's not capable. It's a great camera, the EM10, but will I take it to work? No, I don't think I could trust it fully. And it's when I hit a storm, something really wet and windy, dusty, I would start to worry. And this is the point when you starting to think that I need a professional camera that can withstand all those elements. And this is exactly why I always tell people that you really need to understand the definition of class. Different class of cameras have different purposes, have different target customers. So like, don't try to mix and match stuff, and just don't purely looking at the money side of it, the value points. We are paying premium money for professional cameras as an insurance to make sure that it performs in extreme conditions. More than anything else, more than just about image quality, is about capturing that shot at that moment in time in that condition. So this is exactly what I want to say all the time to a lot of people. When they ask me what sort of camera they should get, or they're trying to argue with me in terms of you can get this with that sort of money. So it's very, very important to understand exactly why you need a higher end camera than anything else. So Nat here, I had E1, E300 and move on to the E3. I didn't jump to M4, Micro Four Third until recently, to be honest. 10 megapixel sensor on E3 was more than enough for work that I was doing until now. See, that is really on point. If your clients really never complains about your resolutions, and why bother getting a 40 megapixel cameras when you are really stressing yourself about processing it, spending the time to process all those photos, and you have to buy larger storage to store all those files. It all comes down to cost as well. And that's another thing that a lot of people may not appreciate, is that when you get a higher megapixel cameras, and you need more powerful computer to process them, larger storage to store the files, you need to upgrade all your memory cards because the raw file is so much bigger. So like your 64 gig card may not fit as many, and that means you have to upgrade literally everything when you get something like that big. It's a lot of things attached to it, and I'm a guy who like consistency. Like with so far, I would say since EM5 Mark II, when did that came out? 2008. Since 2008, I have been hovering in terms of resolutions between 20 to 24 megapixels. So for the last 12 years, I have not increased my workflow. So like that would mean that I'll still be able to edit my photos in my older computers if I need to, without having to struggle, because the megapixel never really increased, and I'm still doing the same work. And I'm very when it comes to workflow, I'm very smooth because everything just works at the moment, and I can't be bothered or really trying to stress myself or trying to upgrade this and upgrade that to change everything that I have already. Because if you start changing things, it's time, and time is money as a business. So I never really want to do that. Even if you're amateur level, even if you just want to enjoy photography as your fun pastime, you don't really want to spend too much time on worrying about storage and things like that. You just want to shoot and have fun, right? Having some photos and just trying to edit them and post it out to share with other people, like See the World Group. And yeah, it is actually quite amazing that many don't really appreciate that point. And Victor, so yes, Victor is online. Hello, Victor, how are you? And Hart as well. Hello, Hart. And Stephen from Plymouth. Hi, Stephen. And Christian. Hello there. And I didn't start without you. Oh, it's just started. All right, you're here already. So I'm still catching up with the comments. And David is here. David, hello. And Willy Billy, hello there. How are you? And more from Indonesia. Hello, hi. How do you pronounce your name? Cheong Channel. Okay, right. Victor has some comment here. I'm not pro, but I had similar decision points to choose Olympus like Jimmy, because the other brand didn't have Miller's alternative to EM1 Mark II. As main I do photos, I choose Olympus over Panasonic. Okay, yeah, this is interesting though, because you mentioned about Panasonic. And why did I choose Olympus over Panasonic? A lot of people did ask me this question, so I might as well answer it right here. So there might be some Panasonic guys here, so I might as well just address that. Panasonic is a great camera. In fact, the G1, remember the G1? The very first Micro Four Third camera came out? G1 is something. Apart from the story that I just told you about the EM5 Mark I, the G1 from Panasonic really was the first camera that I kind of know about Micro Four Third. Obviously didn't buy, but I know about Micro Four Third, and I know the significance of G1. because it's the first small compact solution for photographers. And I mean, I even subsequently, I remember that 2 years later, remember GF1, there's another Panasonic camera, GF1. It's a kind of really cool boxy camera that they have, really slim, very small. And one of my friends it was her birthday. I think it was all of us want to chip in to get her a camera. At the time, she's not a professional. She doesn't really care what sort of brand she uses. She just wanted something that she can travel with. So at the time, I just suggested to my group of friends and saying that, why don't we get a Panasonic GF1? It's really small, compact, looks really cool. It's got a 12 megapixels and it's got a lot of goodies in it. And the form factor is good. It's really perfect for travel. At the time, it came with the kit lens, the 20 millimeters 1.7. So it looks awesome, right? And then, we chipped in, bought her the birthday present, and she was really happy. So Panasonic's always good. I knew about it, but when it comes to the crunch, and that's the problem, because before I got the EM5 Mark 1 in 2012, just a year before that, I've been playing around with my friends' Panasonic cameras. There's one thing I just couldn't get past myself. It was the color. So I don't want to upset any Panasonic boys here, and but I was a little bit disappointed with the skin tones of Panasonic cameras. It's ever so slightly more magenta. It's kind of shifted towards magenta. It's very difficult to correct in post and without heavy editing, which is something that I don't want to do. And as a professional photographer who shoot people a lot, I need natural skin tone. I need really good looking skin tones, and it's impossible, almost impossible. And I'll give you another example as well. And 2 years ago, Tong, you might be here, Tong, right? You remember you used a Panasonic GH5. And you shot with me, and then I used your raw photo as part of my my client's photos. So I was looking at both Panasonic GX5 and also the Olympus raw files side by side in my Lightroom, because I was processing the same wedding for my clients. And then I found that even more apparent with the GX5 files. The skin tones were just a little bit too magenta for my taste. And when I try to match it with the EM1 files, it's kind of very, very difficult. I have to do a lot of split toning. I have to do a lot of HSL. It's too much work just to try to get it to match. Even if I match skin tone, then the rest just doesn't look right. It's just kind of weird. You guys may have a different workflow, and if you do, please let me know how you can get your perfect skin tone in Panasonic cameras. I just find it really, really difficult, and because of that very reason, I chose Olympus over Panasonic, and to get my very first Micro Four Thirds camera. But when it comes to the EM1, it's a no-brainer, because the EM1 had the hybrid AF. We have both. I have both the contrast detect and the phase detect AF, which means that I could adapt to other older 4/3 lenses, which I acquire a couple, before I switch. It's fun, it's great, and it does tracking a lot better than Panasonic in my kind of situation. I wouldn't say for sure, because I know that some of the higher end Panasonic cameras, the DFD system is actually pretty accurate for continuous shooting, and so it just depends on your applications. I wouldn't say which one is really, really supreme over the other. But in my case, I think that the Panasonic, the Olympus AF system works best for me. So it's pretty cool that they mentioned about Panasonic. So hello there, and always enjoy my video. Oh, thank you. And but Micro Four Thirds is less popular in my country, India, and as a result, lenses and bodies are quite expensive. Here in my country, APS-C is most popular actually. I don't think it's your country, and a lot of countries are now kind of favoring APS-C over Micro Four Thirds for portability side of it. But I think that it really depends. I mean, I can understand why you say that. If obviously it's the economy of scale, right? If someone sells more, obviously it will be cheaper than something who sells less. It's supply and demand. But at the same time, you can also kind of consider. I'm not trying to convince you to get a Micro Four Thirds, but small things are always more expensive. if space is important for you, if portability is important for you, in a lot of cases, not just about camera, you pay premium for that space. And that happens to a lot of pro equipments. You know, the smaller it is, the more expensive they are. I know. I'm not trying to justify the price difference in India, but I'm just trying to say that in a lot of cases that they are very apparent, especially when I'm working in a professional field. You know, when I do a filming, for instance, some of the filming accessories, you know, the smaller they are, the more expensive. So if I want to fit everything in my case, if I really want to pack all the stuff that I want, I need to get some of the kind of smaller items, and I need to buy the specific model, which are smaller, but they very often cost more, like quite possibly double the price as the bigger one from the same brand. You know, they just make a smaller one, but just more expensive because it's small, and it happens all the time, and it's something quite difficult really to justify in a way, but hopefully I'll somehow make you feel a little bit better. And I know it doesn't really help in a way, but it's a true fact. So don't get too hard on yourself on Micro Four Thirds being a little more expensive. Just think of it as a premium space saver solution for your photography needs. And hello from Romania. In terms of noise, the EP5 without face detection delivers cleaner images. I haven't personally shoot with the EP5 before, and I wouldn't say whether it is actually cleaner or not, because like I said, I started shooting with the EM5 Mark 1. That was a contrast detect only camera, and I didn't find there's significant difference between, you know, the EM5 files compared to even as early as the EM1 Mark II, which is the first camera I had with the hybrid AF. Side-by-side comparison, I don't see that much difference. There is a little bit more visible noise in higher ISO only because of the higher megapixel count. I don't think it contributes because of the AF system difference. So that could possibly what contributes it. Because imagine from a 12 megapixel to 20 megapixels, you got, you know, the photo size is definitely much smaller in a higher pixel count sensor, and it will result in slightly higher noise to signal. So that means that you will have to make sure you have the right processor, right processing techniques to process those files to get the maximum out of it. But as you know, Photolab DxO Photolab 4, the Deep Prime, I think this is the savior for all Micro Four Thirds shooters, whether it's going to be Panasonic or Olympus. Because that Deep Prime thing, I'm not joking, man. This is a really, really sick invention. You know, whoever thought about that and made that happen, thank you very much. You just made my life for processing high ISO images way easier, and I literally swear by it. I do. I think that the DxO Photolab Prime Deep Prime noise reduction, amazing. It is amazing. And I just started to play around with the Topaz denoise as well, and it's kind of cool, but not as cool as Deep Prime. If you haven't tried it, I'm going to put the link in the description later, and you should try that out. And go and take your family to touristic places and put the bokeh behind them and see. Yep, that is so true. That is so true. You know what? When I've some of my clients that I shot with, they all come from abroad, so they often want me to take them to like London landmark places to take photographs. They don't want me to shoot with shallow depth of field. I want to see the background, just shoot everything like in focus. They request that. So in that case, I shoot at f8. You know, like even on Micro Four Thirds, yeah. So like, I see everything in sharp. They like that, and then don't forget, like you said, blurring everything out is not always the way to go, even in portraits, because some people, like environmental portraits for instance, you want to involve the environment, you want to involve the surrounding, you want to involve the atmosphere, so you want to suck everything in. So if you blur everything out, you're literally getting rid of the atmosphere, the emotions, and the surrounding, and everything just gone and disappear, vanished, pew, not full, gone. So that is not good. And then so you really have to be careful when you use depth of field. Only, I would say now, at this moment in time, I would say that only really beginner would believe in shallow depth of field. If you know what you're doing, then you can understand why I'm saying that. I'm not trying to upset anybody, but I'm just telling you the truth that about shallow depth of field things. Okay. As an amateur, I first bought the Olympus Micro Four Thirds back in 2017, EM10 Mark II. Nice camera. When looking to a small light travel camera, I was so impressed with the dual zoom kit and picture quality. So all my Canon since. That's another thing about Micro Four Thirds, you know, and not just about Olympus, but it's about try. So like before you even cuss the system, before you even trying to talk down on the system, try it. And I bet a lot of the Micro Four Thirds haters out there, I'm not trying to create a war here, am I? I'm not. I come from a full frame background, by the way. But seriously, you know, like I said, every platform, every format has its own benefits. I wouldn't say that Micro Four Thirds is a supreme system that can conquer the world. I never really said that. But at the same time, I wouldn't say full frame is the best either. You know, you just have to evaluate what sort of system works best for you, for your photographic needs. But just to say, for a lot of Micro Four Thirds haters out there, don't hate a system without trying. Don't hate it because other people say it. You know, if you haven't even touched the camera, how can you possibly say that it's a bad camera? You know, if you haven't used the system, how could you possibly say that it's a worse system? If you haven't really seen the photos coming out from a Micro Four Thirds camera, how could you possibly say that it takes rubbish images? Please, you know, you guys have to stop like really creating this horrible argument, horrible fights between different systems and different formats and stuff like that. And you know, I just think that each system was created for a purpose. Micro Four Thirds was invented for a very simple reason: portability and mobility. They were created for that. And then so far, I think they really suit the purpose: portability and mobility. You know, this is exactly what the Micro Four Thirds camera should be. So far, I think that everything it is, you know, like everything that I've used from the older EM5 to like my pen, look at how tiny it is. From even the EM1X, people might think that's a giant camera, but look, compared to the 1DX, compared to Nikon D6 and D5, this thing is smaller. You know, way smaller than all those gigantic cameras, and you can't really compare, you know, the EM1X to a Canon 5D because it's different class. Remember the name class, different class. Don't compare it. Okay. So let's see in here. Oh, another Theo. Hi, Theo. The reason I chose Micro Four Thirds for my first camera because it's cheap. Pretty good eyepiece. Well, I'll give you that. It is cheap, and then I would say that to you that Micro Four Thirds is cheaper. Like I said earlier, you know, when I literally dumped all my Canon gear, I just had enough money to get the body, the EM1 Mark II at the time. I had enough money to get the 25 1.2. I had enough money to get its 40 to 150 2.8. After I sold everything, I thought I'm going to lose basically, well, I did lose a lot of money, but I still have enough to buy almost everything I need to start my job with the Micro Four Thirds. I mean, I have to top up a little bit, but I'm talking about brand new stuff. And those gear that I sold were like 10 years old. They were like really battered, you know, and I think Micro Four Thirds is quite value for money. I said it many times already, so it really should be appreciated, you know, the actual pricing of the Micro Four Thirds gear. And Willy Billy, hello there. You just done a green stuff here. Okay, let me see. I use a secondhand Zuiko 50 f2 macro for most of my portrait work. Yeah, that is a really sharp lens. I'm telling you, that's a known lens from Olympus. The 50mm, that's the original 4/3 lens. Yeah, the Zuiko 50 f2 is a really sharp lens. Yeah, I can totally believe you. I always also said that the Micro Four Thirds 60mm f2.8 macro It's also a magnificent portrait lens. I even did a portrait series in my YouTube review for that lens. I didn't do macro, I just used it as a portrait lens. So it's a very good lens, insane detail, insane sharpness from that lens, and it's weather seal. You know, the 60 macro is superb. For that sort of money, it's well worth it. That sort of performance is equivalent to the Canon's 100 f2.8 2.8L lens, and that lens costs about £750. And the Olympus macro 60 macro at the time when I bought it, it was £320, half the price, but similar if not better quality. Remember what I talked about, the sharpness in Micro Four Third? It's basically sick. Really cool. Okay, and let me see if there's another one here. The Nat, as a working talk, I agree with Jimmy. Oh, thank you. And 100% about the practicality of Micro Four Third. So portable and so powerful. The ecosystem is such a depth, and when compared to other brands. Yep. And I do appreciate that Olympus is doing something that not many other manufacturers are doing these days. I know people may disagree recently about the JIP acquisitions. You know, they're now announcing that they're going to concentrate on the pro market. But for a lot of people who are looking for ultra quality images as optics and performances, this is good news. And because there aren't many other manufacturers are really gunning for the pro market. I know the bulk of the market is in the consumer level, but having said that, people who are willing to spend top money are the people who are actually working using the system, and they are these people who are really kind of keeping the system alive. They are the people who are driving the technologies forward because they use it so much. And any fault, anything that insufficiency and things like that, this is shown, and they will report it back to Olympus or any other companies and tell them exactly what they need. And that's how it's almost like Formula One driver, right? You know, like when you drive a Formula One car, and then you know, these driver will tell you exactly how the car performs and things like that because they are professional. They drive it every single day. They do go racing and things like that. Consumer drivers, we never do that sort of thing. We drive whatever they hand down to us. And like 10 years later, in terms of technologies, this kind of like same thing for professional cameras, and it's a very, very similar thing. Right, many bokeh expertise comes from what people catch on YouTube and read on blogs. Right, I know my mate Mr. Kai. And when he started off, obviously, you know, this bokalicious word, you know, this phrase about bokalicious from the digital ref era, you know, in the early 2000s, and he really kind of popularized the word bokeh. I think from that point, everything that, you know, people, when it comes to cameras, lenses, all they're gonna say is does it good? Has it got good bokeh? Has it got really nice creamy bokeh? I think you're quite right there. You know, like YouTube's, you know, all the other people talking about bokeh thing, you know, and is kind of fueling this misbehavior. Oh, that sounds bad, but misconception about or misunderstanding about bokeh. And for me, I never really kind of paid too much attention about the word bokeh until when I saw Kai's videos, and all I care about is the rendering. That's what I usually talk about, the rendering of the image, how pleasant it looks, and how the texture is being rendered throughout the entire frame. And that's how I usually see images. Not so much about bokeh and creaminess and things like that. I mean, I use those terms these days just because it's kind of like a universal language now. People seem to understand that more than anything else. So I use those terms only for that reason. But in as a matter of fact, I rather prefer to use the word rendering. And but it just doesn't sound cool though, doesn't it? If I use rendering. James was on Canon 450D. Got my EPL3 before switching to EM5. Currently suffers on 2 EM5 2, investing even more glass, may get the EM1 2 next year as the more stills are not video. Yeah. Oh, that's another thing that I was actually starting to starting to scripting for my next video. Is about this very point here, and well, not quite this point, but somehow related. I have a lot of questions asking me about getting older cameras and things like that, and older models, whether it's still valid or still worthy in 2020 or even like 2021 is around the corner now. I would say that yes, and it's definitely worth it if you are a photographer, because at the end of the day, you need a camera that can perform. Full stop. You need a camera that can take photograph. Period. You don't need anything else. And as a matter of fact, even a 10-year-old camera, as long as it still works, is more than sufficient to do the job, right? And there's no difference there. So you can get an EPL1 or EP1. There's an EP1, not EPL. EP1. You can still get EP1 for like $60, and that still works. Nothing's stopping you from getting older cameras. And so if you ask me, is it worth it? Yes, as long as you can take good photos, perfect. Then another question is the Mark III better than Mark II? Of course. I don't know. I think that's a really weird question when people ask me that sort of thing. Technically, if you're looking at specs and features and performances, regardless how much improvement they make on the latest generation, if you're just looking at the technical side of it, the Mark III, of course, is going to be better than Mark II. It's just no denying that. It's a newer model. It's got new processors. It's got newer things. Of course, it's going to be better technically compared to the Mark II. But is Mark II not a worthy camera? No, it's not. Mark II is still as good as ever. So I don't think people should be too hard on themselves trying to get the latest and the greatest. If they still sell the Mark II, which is Olympus right now, they're still selling the Mark II. It's a fantastic camera. They're still doing the firmware update for the Mark II. In fact, they have one coming in the 3rd of December that will allow you to have better video stabilization. You can do photo stack with the 150 to 400 Pro lens, and so they're still improving it somehow. So that means that it's a great camera. It's still being updated, so it's a very cool thing. So Tim, hello, T-Lim, sometimes use the DX lens on my Nikon D750. File size is reduced to 14 megapixel and I have no problem with pixelation, noise, and 10 megapixels is sufficient for even a 16 by 20 print. There you go. That's a live proof for you. It's another one who's agreeing what I just said. You don't need more. It just really depending on how you process your photos, how you upload the photos, how you really eventually print your photos, because everything can be processed to your needs. People are too worried about pixel to pixel level sharpness, and then I think to a lot of times that they just don't realize exactly how that relating to a printed photo. Talk about printed photo. Let me just show you a couple here. These are some of my photos, and that's for exhibition that I got it back. So these photos were printed from Micro Four Thirds cameras, and perfectly fine. This is an A4 print, so it's not really exactly large. But if you look at these sort of sizes, you're never really going to be looking like this. This is going to be really silly, right? That's a pixel to pixel level. This is pixel peeping, but in print terms. But you never do that. For print, you hang it up onto the wall. You kind of stand back and really trying to appreciate it, right? The bigger it is, the further away you're going to stand back to look at the photo. You're never going to look at in pixel terms, and that is exactly why the megapixel is it has a false impression on people when they say, oh, I need 50 megapixel to print, I don't know, 30 by 60, whatever. If you want pixel sharpness, yes, you do, but if you are really printing for appreciation, even for exhibitions, depending on the context of your photographs, you don't really need that much. You don't, and then because most people are standing 6 feet away to look at your giant photos. They're not going to have a close-up inspection of all the hair, all the details in the photographs. They're never ever going to do that. So don't get too hard on yourself about megapixel. Don't think that 20 megapixel is not sufficient compared to modern systems, and or other systems. Don't even think about insufficiency. Or having a smaller sensor. Don't even think that. I think more importantly is for you to develop as a great photographer. is to be yourself and master your skill on exposures and timing, and also like executions and all kinds of stuff that you need to do. I think that is even more of a worry than trying to worry about pixels. And because at the end of the day, if you master a photography, you can use any camera anyway by default. So don't worry about pixels. People who are talking about pixels all the time are really silly. Gareth is saying sounds great, thank you. And I was hoping that it sounds okay. And Chris as well, thank you. Sounds great on the headphone. Oh, good. So I'm gonna keep this setup. I think this is really good for my live stream. At least I don't have to wear my mic. So that's cool. Alfono saying Pen F. You have something about Pen F. I love my Pen F, and I just don't know how much I can say more about Pen F. It's just beautiful, crafty, camera. It's to me one of the best Olympus cameras ever made, and I'll go as far as that. May not be technologically, because this is about 4-year-old camera now, but it really is truly a beautiful thing. It's a really lovely camera. I started Micro Four Third, then went to Nikon Full Frame, but was jaded by lens calibrations and missing so many shots, and come back to Olympus because joy to shoot with. And that's another thing. Yeah, DSLR is not as accurate as you might think, because the different systems that we employ in the mirrorless terms, you don't need calibrations in lenses, not to that extent anyway. And the DSLR, I remember when I had in my Canon days, I would tweak my lenses manually. So I have profile set up in my camera. So and whenever I attach the lens to the camera, it would obviously all the micro adjustments is set and calibrated. So making sure I get the ultimate sharpness from the lens, but only if you can exploit it. Because in DSLRs, I mean, back in my days, I don't have a face detect and facial recognitions and kind of things, eye detections through the OVF, optical viewfinder. You don't have that sort of thing. So you have to compose and shoot all the time, and you always miss a little bit because of the focal plane is different, right? It's a technical thing. So you have to manually adjust a little bit, but you can never nail that focus like 100%. And so people who are used to Micro Four Third or any other mirror system would find shooting DSLR very extremely challenging because of that technical thing that I just mentioned. But shooting with mirrorless these days is so much easier because it has face eye detections, and now they have AI subject recognitions. Things are becoming way more easier to shoot with the mirrorless compared to DSLRs. It's hard to imagine for me to going back to DSLR these days, and because of the things that I'm so accustomed to now with the newer technologies, in a way that I found that if I go back, I'll become a little bit handicapped if I go back to the older DSLR system. Not that I can't shoot it, but I need to adjust myself once again, and I may, like yourself, I may miss some shots because of that. And Greymount Images, I have been very happy with my In-1.2, In-1.3 Pro lenses until the 150 to 400 Pro just came out, and the price is 2 times of any other Oli lenses. What? Who likes the idea of the 150 to 400 Pro lens? I'm telling you that I'm still drooling all over it. Like I said. And it's a shame that Olympus hasn't given me a chance to actually play with the lens and also do a video for you guys. I just saw Peter Forsgard video yesterday. He did a hands-on experience things, and so lucky for him, he got a touch the lens, and I haven't really tried it yet myself, and hopefully one day, I mean, if I do get it, I will still do a video for it if you guys still want to watch it. I know by the time I get it, it's probably about 3-4 months later, so I just don't know if I really want to do a video on it, but I think I might, because it's a lens that I'm always dreaming to have one, and I think I will eventually get the lens, and just to see, as a big Olympus guy now, I mean, I love my Olympus gear, and I think it would be cruel for me not to collect that lens as my shelf queen, even, like just to put it at the back here, so you guys, every time I do a live stream, you can see that lens right behind me, right? It's just gonna be like really cool. But jokes aside, I think that It's one hell of a lens. It's a magnificent piece. It's Olympus showing the world what they can do with optical designs, and that's as far as I would go to announce to the world. This 150 to 400 Pro zoom lens is really a masterpiece from Olympus, and also like what I said about this lens in my previous video, and this could really be the last true Olympus lens. The way I said it is because now obviously that they have transferred over to the OM Digital Corp, the new entity by JIP, and also the old Olympus imaging department. This 150 to 400 was researched and developed and produced still under Olympus, and they started to have this thing draw up on the board, like designing it possibly 4 or 5 years ago. So what you're seeing now, this is really coming from Olympus and nothing to do with the latest entity. And but from this point onward, it's hard to say, because from the roadmap, we still have a lot of lenses we haven't seen yet, like the 8 to 25 f4. That's another lens that they're supposed to launch, and which I believe is a 2021 release. And we have potentially the 100mm macro lens, and then all the other lenses that associating with the latest roadmap. And those lenses will be finished by the new company. So it's only me saying it, I'm pretty sure it's still fairly Olympus, but from a collector's point of view, from a Olympus fanboy's point of view, this 150 to 400 is to me the last Olympus lens, and a true Olympus lens that kind of like, have that Olympus blood and soul in it. And it's made in Japan, and that their manufacturing facilities is now all in Vietnam. Having said that, they're still going to be using some of the Japanese manufacturing facilities there, but I don't know what products they're going to do it in that particular factories. I know the 25 1.2 Pro lens is still produced in Japan. At least my copy of 25 1.2 is from Japan. The 17 1.2, the 45 1.2, both are made in Vietnam. And but it doesn't really matter, but if you're someone who cares about where they made, I can just letting you know that those. So I still got those lenses that are made in Japan. So, but this very 150 to 400 is made in Japan, and it's a very special piece, very, very special. Finally made it to live. Oh, hello there, and a greeting from Jeddah and the Red Sea. Whoo! I think it'll rain tonight. We love rain. I don't like rain. I just want to dry it. But we need rain. Ricardo, hello there. I've just bought the EM1 Mark II with the 25 1.2. I'm astonished about the image quality and sharpness in my night shot. I don't feel the need to switch to a DSLR. Wow, there you go. And you got a really good combo there. That's the first combo I use for professional stuff. And I don't know if you see my golden lens review videos, and if you don't, you can go back to check it. I talked about the 24 1.2 is my first Pro lens that I bought with my EM1 Mark II when I switched. So this is the exact combo that I got when I switched over from Canon to Olympus. This is a really, really kind of like a made for each other. I love the lens. The 24 1.2 is very, very cool. It's a quite versatile lens as well. Been using for G9 for a few years. I want to go full frame Lumix. Another full frame. The G9 is pretty cool, and I know I think you probably follow Emily, yeah? Emily from Michael 4 Nerds. She's got Lumix full frame, and so you can probably talk to her about all these experiences that she had, and I think she's liking the system. But for me, the Lumix full frame is too big for my liking, and I've tried it, I've used it, and then I even used the Leica version of it, the SL. The lenses are it's astonishing big, and I'm not joking. Yeah, the body, especially the S5, is quite compact, but the full frame lenses from Lumix and Sigma and also Leica, they were humongous. They were big, massive beast. One of the reasons I switched to Michael 4 is trying to get rid of the heft and the weight, and but now I have to, if I go back to it, and it just defies the purpose of having a smaller and more mobile system that I really truly value these days. But never said that, having said that, sorry, the Lumix camera does look very cool, and I have to say that especially their prime lenses are pretty cool. The 51.4 and then the zoom lenses looks pretty good as well. Benny, hello. Yeah, good to see you again. Oh, and Vicky's in the house. Hi, Vicky. How are you, Evening Squire? Vicky is a long-term listener, and I love to have you as my as a company in my channel. You always talk a lot of technical stuff that I truly enjoy reading all the time. You are one hell of a lady, you are. And Bobok is saying not switching but adding. Right, my EM1 Mark III just arrived 40 minutes ago. My first new camera since the EM5 Mark II. Congratulations, and I'm very sure you'll be very impressed with it, especially coming from a EM5 Mark II, because that was still the contrast detect AF, but you get the Mark III now, the EM1 Mark III, the AF speed. Whew, really, that would blow your socks off. I'm telling you, it's really good. Right, I'm trying to catch up, but you guys have a lot of comments here. Let me see here. I have to skip a couple. Just finished my trade-in deal. My Sony A7R4 200 to 600. Wow, that's a big lens. 24 to 105, 85 to 1.4, and a macro lens for OMD M1X with the 300 f4, 40 to 152.8, 24 extreme excited. Wow, you are coming from a big system there. But you probably recognize that how much weight saving you're going to get with that combo that you get. And because the 200 to 600 is a massive lens there. So the 300 f4, 40 to 152.8, those two will together still lighter than that lens. And yeah, you haven't mentioned about teleconvert. Are you going to get the teleconverters? I think with the teleconverter you can get some reach there, mate. And if you get the even the 1.4, it will give you like massive boost in range. But if you get like 2 times, your 300 f4 will become 600, and in full frame will be like 1200. So like that is some reach you can get there. Yeah, and that's if you do a lot of birdings, like bird in flights, the EM1X will have a firmware update in a few days time, and then you will have the new bird recognition. That's awesome. Well, you may be good, and 20 megapixel for landscape photography, 30 would be better, and there are such sensor. I agree with you about lenses, they are very sharp. I'm not disagreeing, Libor, and thank you for your comments. Yeah, for people who have different needs, and obviously that you probably want a little bit higher resolutions, and this is something at the moment I don't think Micro Four Thirds can satisfy unless there is a new generations of sensors coming out. When I say that though, we're still getting new sensors, which is kind of slightly tweaked sensors every year, but they are keeping kind of like the optimal resolution against noise levels. So I think this is kind of the compromise they're having at the moment. If they increase the resolutions, not that they can't do it, but that means that their high ISO performance will probably have to suffer a little bit more. So it just, I guess, is reaching the point of physics. It just depends how much they can push forward in terms of the format. And but we're already seeing Sony and Sharp are looking into 30 to 36 megapixel Micro Four Thirds sensor. Sony has already announced that they have one, but I don't know who is going to adapt or using it. But no one ever really tested the sensor or have one in a camera to see what the result is like in terms of a different lighting situation, dynamic range, and that kind of stuff. No one really knows. But Sony has already a high resolution Micro Four Thirds sensors available for manufacturers to adapt. But we shall see. You never know. Maybe the next Olympus camera or Panasonic camera, or maybe even Blackmagic and whatever, who use Micro Four Thirds sensors, would have a new one. We just don't know yet, and until that day comes. So let's fingers crossed to see whether we're gonna have some new text coming, and that might be quite interesting, right? Vicky, what professional equipment? Yeah, maybe in 3 years, but mirrorless is still in transition, and frankly, Nikon are a disappointment. they are getting back, like give them a little chance. And I know they are trying to come back with the new mirrorless offering. And having said that, I think Canon is probably doing a slightly better job than Nikon in terms of mirrorless push. They are having some fantastic cameras coming out, and lenses wise, they're still trying to make this switch from the old EF mount to the new RF mount. It's still changing and still making things a little bit more interesting, like those f11 lenses. Yeah, not really my thing. No matter how good they are, I still don't think I could ever buy an f11 lens. I don't think I could do that. It breaks my heart when I do that. And live time by Tim. Hi Tim, good evening from Germany. Work is over, time to relax and enjoy. So yes, enjoy. Hopefully you enjoyed the talk so far. Interesting. I wish much enjoyment from the new Ollie gear. Can't wait to start using my EM1. Yeah, it's good, mate. It's good. Trust me, the EM1 III, it is good. Jimmy, you probably said this before, but how did the name Red 35 come from? Right. Yes. People asked me before. Right. Okay. It's kind of like a weird thing if I say it now, because it's such a Micro Four Thirds, especially Olympus focused channel, and the red actually come from Leica. I used to be a Leica shooter, and also 35mm is my favorite focal length. So the red is actually kind of like the red dot on Leica, and then if you look at the original. If you've been following me long enough, you probably see my old logo of the Red 35 channel is actually a rangefinder, is actually a Leica, and so I kind of moved away from that now, and but I'm keeping the Red 35 because everyone knows the name now, so I'm just gonna keep the Red 35. I changed the logo, as you can see, it's now just the word R35, so it's just becoming a thing, But 35 is a focal length, and that's why the 17mm 1.2 Pro is my favorite lens, or the most frequently used lens in my arsenal of lenses, because I'm just I'm so used to that focal length or that angle of use, and I just so used to it, so I prefer to use the 35 equivalent focal length, and that Red 35, that 35 is the focal length. Hope that answers your question, and if anybody didn't know, there you go, that's the answer. And Christian, honestly, I recently used the E3 with the 14-54 lens alongside with the EM1, EM1X on wedding shoot, and it certainly still holds its own. Wow. The E3. Still cool. After all these years. Fabulous. The Percival, hello there, and hello from Philippines. Hi there. Hope you enjoy your evening so far. Wow, it must be late in your area. Gosh. You're probably, what, 8 hours ahead? Wow, that must be very late for you. Hope that it won't stop you from working. Amateur here, Gareth. Okay. Due to personal circumstances caring for my dad, I was unable to spend my time on photography for years. Had Canon, but gave it all to my daughter, and as it wasn't getting used. Oh, wow. Okay. And oh, you got double typed here. Oh, Calvin, hello there. Hi. But let's go back to your one. To be honest, this is life, right? And I have so many people in this channel who commenting and asking me questions before, had very similar experience, whether it's going to be personal issues, work, and things like that. And they drop the cameras, they never look at photography for 20 years, 30 years, and when they a bit older, when they retire from their professions, they picking up the cameras once again, they're going back to photography. It happens, and but photography is a great thing, right? It's not really age related, which is a fantastic thing. And it's a very good pastime hobby, like it can be expensive, but it just really depends on what you need. But it's a really great thing, right? You can enjoy. You can go out for a walk, you can go for a hike, take your camera, and this is the beauty of Micro Four Thirds. It doesn't weight you down, right? You just have a little system there. Go out for a walk, take some great photograph, go back, do a little bit of editing, just enjoy it. This is really kind of really cool enjoyment, and I think that I would never gonna give up photography, even one day if I may retire from photography, or stop making YouTube video, but I'll still be a photographer. I think I'm just gonna continue shooting until the day I can't hold a camera anymore. And but I think it's a really fantastic hobby, and even you're not thinking about moving into professions, it's a really I would say a very therapeutical, therapeutic. Yes, sorry, I used the wrong word there. Experience is really cool. It's very calm, and depends what sort of thing you do. And everything is fun in photography. You can do macro, you can do landscape, you can do like street photography, and all kinds of stuff. If you're like a people person, do portraits. So many things you can explore. Astrophotography, underwater, if you're divers or swimmer, something, man. That's really cool. Um, right. As a Panasonic shooter, I agree that the skin tone tends towards the magenta. It's more pronounced on the GX85 and than my G9. Right. Yeah. Coming from a Panasonic user, yeah, I think that I think it's more apparent for me because I'm using Canon and Olympus before, and when I just look at the Panasonic file, it just always comes to me that as a more magenta focus cameras. Most Panasonic camera has that trait. They all have that magenta tone tint into the photographs, which is a little bit weird. For certain things, it may be cool. Especially for sunset photo. Sunset photo needs a little bit magenta in it. I always add a little bit magenta in my sunset photos, so that is cool because you need magenta, right? But for skin, I think unfortunately skin for me is something else. You do need the more natural looking skin, and the magenta tone is very difficult to get rid of. I like Olympus more for the body design and colors and what I have seen, and I know the latest Lumix camera are very good. I just hope that OMD line can continue with the same build quality under JIP. Fingers crossed. Let's hope so. I too. And obviously, no one knows what the future holds, especially, who actually expect what what we're seeing this year, this pandemic, this lockdown thing, worldwide, all this stuff. It just really nobody knows. And but let's hope for the best for JIP. Let's hope for the don't call it JIP now. It's OM Digital Corp. That's the new corporation name. It's OM Digital Corp. So let's hope for the best for them. And but it's good that they have all the R&D departments all transferred to that department there, to the new corporations. They have a lot of old teams are being worked there now. So it's almost seamless transition. So hopefully everything remain the same. Hopefully everything remain Olympus as the original Olympus. And that means that the future products that we see shouldn't be too far away from what we've been experiencing so far. But what I would like to see from being a new company, having a new directions, is that to focus a little bit more on other areas as well. Because I know Olympus is great for photography, but I think in this day and age, if they really want to broaden the appeal to other users and other consumers and creators alike, they need to focus on more than just photography. Like I said it many times now, and I know they're doing something such as videos. They're really pushing a little bit on the video side now, which is great. It's great news for me as well because I shoot Olympus on videos. I don't use Panasonic, and well, because I'm an Olympus ambassador, right? Remember? And so I do use the Olympus cameras to do all my video jobs, which is actually okay. It's not as bad as other people think. And I mean, all my videos shot so far, and all my clients love it, and I love it myself. I mean, obviously we don't shoot 4K 60, we don't have high bit rate, but that is due to change when we're gonna have the Apple ProRes RAW shooting with the Ninja 5, which I also have. So I will be able to connect my my Ninja 5 to EM1X or EM1 Mark III to have RAW shooting. So that would dramatically change the quality of my end result. So I'll be able to grade the footage easier, better, and have more dynamic range to play with and high bit rate. And so that means, yeah, everything should look a lot better. But what I want to see is that maybe they have higher frame rate, better quality bit rates, and also more codecs I can play with. And so that is something that I'm hoping that Olympus will get there eventually, but I know that they're working on it. And so hopefully that we will see the next gen product will see a massive improvement in the video side. That will be fantastic. So Olympus color science is amazing. Just to convert my raw files from Olympus Workspace, great results. It is. It is one of the things I do love it is because of the color science. It's phenomenal, right? And thank you, Adam. And Mark, do you think the new Olympus 150-400 f4.5 Pro is overpriced? Not at all. Nope, definitely not. I know a lot of people think that way, and but let me tell you about producing these sort of high-end pro zoom lenses does require a lot of effort, a lot of premium quality materials and workmanship. It may be manufacturing from a production line, but a lot of stuff are actually still hand adjusted, hand calibrated, and for this low volume, high price products. Same as the Canon and Nikon equivalents, all these big massive zoom lenses. The reason why they cost $15,000-$20,000 is because of that. They're extremely low volume productions, all hand checked, hand assembled in certain components, hand calibrated. There's really a lot of stuff going on there, and the design. They need to make sure the actual elements that they employ within the design are the kind of at the highest level they can get. A lot of people actually may not understand a lot about lens elements. Some of the elements that they use in these lenses are extremely expensive to produce. Elements obviously have a lot of characteristics in terms of light transmissions, for instance, and coatings to do with reflections. So all these combinations there affects the designs and outcome of the photographs. So for 150 to 400 millimeters to perform to the level that is currently seeing, it needs a lot of expensive stuff inside. And the fact that they managed to do it for $6,500 in UK pounds or 10,000 Canadian dollar or whatever, 7.5 in US, is actually pretty good value for what it is. I'm just about what it is. And then, it's always hard to compare equivalents, between Olympus to Canon or Nikon, because it's a different focal length, right? But we're talking about reach, equivalent, class. Remember class? I just said right from the beginning of this video, this class of lens, this is cheap, and that's why in the UK, at least, from what I heard, from what I've been told, that the first batch of these 150 to 400 Pro lens that were allocated to the UK market are gone. Sold out. Yeah, I'm not joking. So there are a lot of professionals already part their money getting these lenses. And one of my UK ambassador, the Mike Inkley that I spoke about in the last videos, he's a motorsport photographer who uses long lenses. He previously been shooting with the 300 f4 Pro and also the 40 to 150 f2.8 Pro with teleconverters because he needs to reach. He bought 2 lenses. He pre-ordered 2 of these lenses. I mean, we ambassador need to pay as well. We don't get freebie, I'm telling you. So he ordered 2 of these lenses. So he himself already got 2 out of whatever been allocated to the UK. So, but the first batch is completely sold out now in the UK. So people who pre-order now will probably have to wait for the second batch. That may come February, March. I don't know entirely when that's going to be. They may, depending on they're still juggling with numbers at the moment, depending on what other areas are doing. So I don't think it's overpriced. You can see from the demand already. You can see how people are reacting to the lens. The people who needs this lens. So it's really difficult to actually just to say that people want something or they need something. So people who utilize these lenses would definitely find it as a value option. For me, like I mentioned earlier, I don't need this lens. I just want this lens. So that means I can wait. I don't have to buy straight away. I have to save up anyway, to get this lens because $6,500 is expensive. And if I use the lens to produce my work and get paid for it, I would buy it straight away without thinking, because it's a working tool, right? I just buy something to work. And but it's a lens that for collections, for something that I would ultimately appreciate as a mantelpiece. Yeah, it's different. So I don't think it's overpriced. So hopefully that answers your questions. So let's see if there's any other thing here. Gracias. Alfonso. Give DxO a try. Okay, Christian, is DxO a try? Yes, you should try it. Right, I'm not really trying to sell DxO. And you try and let me know. And they have free trial. You can use my link, and that link is affiliate link, so that you can help me a little bit, so you can download the free trial there, and I'll earn, I think, 1 cent or 2 cents, something like that. So then we help this channel out a little bit. So I had that in my previous DxO review, the Photolab 4 review, and there's a link there you can click. So let's see what else in here. And yeah, Tepper is saying that the deep prime is, and also Dino's are amazing, like having a new sensor. I'm not joking, it is that good. It is really that good. Right, cool. David Black, hello there. Yes, the face detection on the EM1 is better than the old version in the EM1X. I really wish the upcoming update for the EM1X will have given the new face detection. I'm hoping so, but as far as I'm reading correctly from the brief, the new face and eye detection is not included in the EM1X update. I might be wrong. They might actually add it right in the last minute when they finally release the final version of the firmware. Because I haven't got the pre-release version to test. I haven't seen it yet, so I would not be able to tell you exactly what it includes. But as far as I'm reading it correctly, and the EM1 Mark III's face and eye detection is not included in the EM1X firmware update, and which will be a disappointment to me, because I do utilize that feature, but at the same time I do have the EM1 Mark III. The EM1X is always been my workhorse for a lot of stuff, and but it has a lot of other features I use anyway, so it's not really the end of the world. But I can understand that for people who only have the EM1X would probably like to have that same feature from the EM1 Mark III, and I can see that. But also likewise, a lot of EM1 Mark III users may also want to have the bird tracking, right? And the new bird recognition from the AI subjects recognition AI AF. It's too long. I don't know what to say anymore. But anyway, whatever the EM1X has. So it's very different cameras, and then they also obviously targeting for different people. But I would like to see that face and eye detection included in the new firmware update for the EM1X myself as well. So hopefully, fingers crossed, that will be the case. Toma, thanks, David. A shame the EM1X face system doesn't get an update. Oh, I just said it. Sorry. I'm still backtracking all these comments at the moment, so I'm a little bit slow. So M43 format is also produced for corner-to-corner sharpness, correct? And the format is geometrically nearer to the circle than the 3.2. Then they're absolutely correct as well. Yes, you are quite right there. Technically, you're very correct. David Black, me too. I'm lucky enough to have EM1 Mark III EM1X. That's probably exactly what I said too. Oh my god, I'm so slow. Sorry. One problem Olympus has had is that it's hard to market it because other brands can beat it on the market specs. Some of the best quality of Olympus are mainly apparent after using it. You are probably right, and that is also another reason why I think a lot of people said it before. Olympus marketing should do better. In a way, I kind of understand it, and because there are a lot of things that didn't really kind of push it when they should push it, and a lot of things that it could have been appealing to a lot of modern creators, like whether it's going to be videos or photographers. They didn't really push those features in front of them, and it's hard to say, because they obviously marketings have different directions, depending on who's in charge and who's looking into whatever things they believe, or after whatever analysis they've done in terms of market demographics and things like that, to think that which direction should take the Olympus brand to. Like at the moment, and they are really focusing on wildlife and outdoor photography more than anything else, and so they are not really focusing on people who use Micro Four Thirds for, let's say, street photography, travel photography, wedding photography, portrait photography. They don't looking in those areas at all, and well, I wouldn't say at all. They probably still a little bit, but more to do with outdoors and wildlife, because they have all the equipments now. They have the 40 to 150. They have the 100 to 400. They have the new 150 to 400 to promote. So they are going to focus on those areas for as long as possible. So in short term, I don't think there will be any change, and that would mean that there will be less focus on other areas that that may be known to a lot of people that would like to have a try on the Olympus system. So we shall see. You know, like I said, the new OM Digital Corp would have a new pair of eyes, and then it will probably as we speak, they're probably looking at across the board now, looking at different YouTubes, looking at different people, looking at what they want, and maybe they'll adjust the marketing a little bit and starting to make some different approach to the compared to the older strategies in terms of promoting the brand and also the features. So we shall see. You know, like, it's never say never. There could be some exciting thing up in the corner. I never know. That would be exciting. So Mia, hello Mia, and I hear agreements that you can just crop the full frame sensor to achieve similar longer reach of Micro Four Thirds on the Sony 100 to 400, 4.5 to 5, and better than the Olympus. Do you agree with this? No, you can't. The reason I say that is because, let's say if you use the Sony system, depending on the resolutions, yeah, and if you use the A7R4, your high megapixel, and you crop, and 2 times crop, yeah, so you have to crop half the pixels out. So if you got a, let's say, 40 megapixel, you're cropping it out. You're essentially getting similar megapixel counts as the Micro Four Thirds sensor, which is 20 megapixel. But if you crop it so close to it, you are losing a lot of the pixel first. Second, you may have a little bit of better dynamic range at lower ISO compared to the Micro Four Thirds. However, I would say that the dynamic range differences is negligible. You can see, you can Google it, and the EM1 Mark II, Mark III, and the EM1X sensor dynamic range is actually right on top compared to other top range APS-C sensors. So it's not actually that bad at all. And third, like I mentioned about sharpness, yeah, remember the sharpness? The Sony 100 to 400 millimeters lens is optimized for full frame sensor. And when you crop it, you're basically magnifying the details. And I guarantee that the Olympus 150 to 400 will be a lot sharper compared to the Sony 100 to 400 f4.5 to 5.6 that you mentioned here. And it's going to be very, very different beast altogether. So it's going to be difficult to compare. And obviously, I'm just saying from a theory point of view, people can prove me wrong if they have such system to compare, and then I'll be dying to see one if there is someone who really managed to do a comparison technically, like what you just mentioned here. But I'm very, very certain that the Olympus system with the Olympus 150 to 400 4.5 will outperform the cropped image from a Sony sensor with the 100 to 400 lens that you mentioned. So just from experience, looking at the high level top, some of the top full frame lenses, adapting to Micro Four Thirds sensors and cropping it, for instance, and all the other stuff, you name it. I've done similar things before. It just never produced the same result as the native Micro Four Thirds lens on the Micro Four Thirds body. So you can try it, but I'm pretty sure that the Olympus will definitely better in many, many ways compared to the cropped Sony image. Sorry, meant to say arguments. No, at all. That's fine. If you want bokeh, go near to your subject. Yes, that is true. It's all relative, right? You just have to adapt to the new system, adapt to the new format, and work differently. You can never work the same way if you're so used to full frame cameras and trying to use a Micro Four Thirds. it will shock you at first because you're going to lose depth of field, you're going to lose this and that. You just have to adjust yourself to your new system. Just similar things to the older times, when people used to have large format cameras and try and adapt to 35mm. And they found that they lose a lot of stuff as well, and that they have to adapt to the newer, smaller format. And back then, full frame was the small format, I'm telling you. And these days, Micro Four Thirds, of course, is a small format, but people need to adapt to it. And by means of adapting means that you have to work differently, and if you want to achieve shallow depth of field, yeah, just like what Gareth just, not Gareth, so what Bobok just said, go nearer to the subject, use a longer focal length, and you just need to work differently. You can achieve similar results, but don't ever compare apple and oranges. They are different things. They're different format. Of course, you're going to get different results. I wouldn't say which one is better. It's just depending on how you look at it. And a 25mm lens on a Micro Four Thirds is a 25mm lens. And if a 25mm lens in a full frame is a 25, don't compare a 50mm lens to a 25mm lens. Physically, they are different. Focal length is different. Depth of field is different because one is 50, one is 25. Of course, it's different. You can never really try to compare these two things. They are totally separate things altogether. If you want to compare 25 against a 25. Never compare 50 to a 25, even though it's the crop factor there, and because they are two different lenses altogether. And if you want to, if you woke up tomorrow and all Micro Four Thirds cameras gear disappear from the face of the earth, and what system would you invest in? I'll invest in my iPhone. All this cool AI stuff that's coming out, all this LiDAR sensor that can allow you to shoot in the dark, that would be quite cool, right? And it's always with me, or I need just a couple of power banks to keep my phones topped up. That'll be fine. That's just joking. I don't know. To be honest, I don't know, and I'm not entirely sure whether I will go back to full frame, and it's just too big and too heavy for me. If really Micro Four Thirds just disappear, I'll have to force myself to get an APS-C, and I think I'm so accustomed to crop sensors now, and that the APS-C will be the next best thing in terms of portability. Full frame is just massive and expensive, and even from my point of view, I use my gear to make money, and but it doesn't make economical sense for me, and but I get the same pay. So why would I choose a more expensive system while I can make the same money with a cheaper system? I.e., and Micro Four Thirds, if they disappear, Micro Four Thirds will be the next cheapest thing I can get, and so I don't think that I would go back to full frame unless I have a specific needs for it, and perhaps high resolution stuff. If one day suddenly I got a couple of clients to ask me to produce billboard size stuff, and which will require like 80 megapixel stuff, then I might get a full frame. And but if not, I'm happy where I am. And I have an EM10 Mark II, EM5 Mark II. Feeling jealous for the hybrid AF or the EM5 Mark III, not 2. 2 hasn't got the hybrid, but even so, two great cameras. They are great cameras. Like I said, the EM5 Mark II is a phenomenal cameras. Even today, I would think that if people don't have the budget or starting out, if you want to get a really good solid body Olympus camera, the EM5 Mark II is perfectly fine, even secondhand. And they are great cameras, solid metal, fully weather sealed. You can't do anything wrong with that thing. It's 16 megapixel, which is plenty. Good colors. The contrast detect AF is okay, not fast for tracking stuff, but it's fast enough for do portraits and stuff like that. It's good enough. It's good enough. Just bought the EPM2. You mean EM1 Mark II? It makes great images. I hope I got that right. Yeah, and but yes, they if you talk about EM1 Mark II, they do make great images. Corner, hello there. How are you? You're a bit late here, mate. Adam, they are asking about one thing better than the previous with some Canon mirrorless missteps. I would argue that Olympus EM10 Mark III also raises an eyebrows or two. uh, yes, EM1 Mark III can do 50 megapixel high-res mode, handheld as well. For tripod high-res, you can do 80 megapixel, which is cool. Mike, hello Mike. See the props for the performance of the 430 macro that have been posted. Agree, so sharp. Robin Wong has praised it too in his shutter therapy discussions. It is magnificent, although I personally don't have that lens, but I've seen sample images on that, and it looks one hell of a lens. And in fact, it still command quite a bit of money, to be honest. Even secondhand, it's not dirt cheap, but it's not expensive, but it's still, not as cheap as I was expecting in terms of a secondhand or even older lenses. So it's actually pretty awesome, and that shows that's still in high demand. Especially got the MMF3 adapter to adapt the 4-third lens to your micro 4-third cameras. And Theo, yes, Theo pre-order the 150 to 400 f4.5 Pro. Let me know how you get on. You get it way before I would get one, and I'm so envy of you are going to get the lens first. And but yeah, enjoy it and let me know. Show me your images. I'm pretty sure it's going to be amazing and spectacular. A couple of the fact that you can use now Deep Prime to really clean up your images in high ISO. I think you're going to have a really good combo there, and that is going to be something. That is something. Ooh, cool. Um, I am skimping a lot of stuff at the moment. Oh, Morgan, hello there. I do not care where something is made, as is the final control of the product that is crucial, and this is how high quality level is. Absolutely correct. Yeah, I know a lot of people, prefer things that are made in Japan, especially is a Japanese brand, and I can totally appreciate that. But so far, to be honest, a lot of the Olympus cameras that you use these days, the EM5 Mark III, the EM1X, EM1 Mark III, all made in Vietnam. And lenses, I would say that 90% of the lenses now are made in Vietnam. Only only a handful of them, like the 25 1.2 that I mentioned, are made in Japan. Obviously, that may carry some resale values, but like you said, the crucial thing is they're well made, they're well quality control there, and they are going to be as good as the Japanese equivalents, and that is what we care, right? Ultimately, you want the lens to be well made and solid, and that's all we care. It doesn't really matter where it made, where it's made. That's I think you said it quite rightly there. Michael, hello Michael. If Olympus add 10-bit video to the camera, it would that would get a lot more customers. Olympus color better than Sony and Panasonic. Had G9, only I missed 10-bit after going back to Olympus. Like I said, yes, I think that Olympus, I think they certainly have the capability. They already have the sensor, they have the optics, they have the processor. They just need to tweak it a little bit to make it work. And it's something that I think, because the reason that they haven't gone all in yet, because they don't have the expertise, they don't have the departments to focus on the video side of the of this particular platform, and they already have the best IBIS in the world, and that alone says a lot. I mean, I use my EM1X and the EM1 Mark III for video works, and I have my gimbal. I do use my gimbal. Look, I have the Weberless here, which is actually pretty cool, and but I can, a lot of the time I just use the built-in IBIS to do the stabilization work, which actually works really well. And it is really missing just a little bit there, like I said, in that if they have higher bit rate, and also different compressions, different other containers or codecs, and it would really broaden the appeal to some of the die-hard videographers and or people similar to that. But for me as a hybrid, I think that is definitely more than sufficient to do my work at the moment. But I would like to see 4K 60, maybe even 1080 and 240. That would be something. And but I would like to see, once the firmware is updated to allow me to do Apple ProRes recording, I would love to compare the results, and so stay tuned for my video. Stay tuned for my videos, because I'll be doing a comparison between the internal recording compared to external recording in Apple ProRes, and then just to see the difference, the quality difference between the two, and whether it's worthwhile getting the Ninja 5 to do the ProRes RAW if you are very serious about using your Olympus gear to do video work. So I'll be doing comparisons to that, and just stay tuned for that. So I'm really trying to gear up for that, and but obviously I don't want to release straight away when the firmware is up, because I want to test a few things first, making sure that I got everything covered, and so I will be able to compare side by side footage and making sure that you can get the quality difference. I really want to show you guys the Apple ProRes. Well, obviously, by default, it's definitely going to be better anyway. It's high bit rate. It's got more information there. Got a lot more color depth, so you can do a lot more grading works. But I just want to show it in front of the camera so you can see the difference between a proper recording compared to the built-in recording. So that will be quite awesome. MU, hello there, and still use the EM5 EM5, EM1, both Mark 1, perfect for my needs, and I have the 14 to 54 2.8 3.5 Mark II and 50 f2, both very sharp. Absolutely, yep, absolutely. Like I said, I never ever look down on people using older gears, because I'm a photographer. I use old gears from time to time, and I use older cameras to shoot, and especially film cameras. And, all it matters is your images at the end of the day. And like I said so many times, that you don't need the latest and the greatest to produce best work. You don't, and it's all about here, how you process it, how you execute it, how you see, how you interpret the world through the lens. And that's what matters. Of course, the newer cameras will have certain benefits, like whatever, security wise, reliabilities, maybe certain degree image quality because of the high depth, higher bit rate, and higher color depth, dynamic range, for instance. It plays a part of it, but it's not the end of the world, and is how you know your system. If you know your system, inside out, how to exploit it, the limitation. As long as you don't exceed the limitation, you should be able to achieve great results regardless. And that's how I would always tell people to work with the cameras. You really have to understand inside and out of the camera, maximize it, use it to the max. You have to learn the limits of your cameras, so you don't push over it, because once you push over it, and then no matter how you do it, your image is going to be crap because you push over the limit. And that goes with other systems as well. That goes with full frame, that goes with medium format, and every camera has a limit, and if you push over it, and that's it. So understanding equipment is also crucial to produce higher quality images. Criminal, pop in to say hi. Hi. And then you were saying that I still have the E300 and the Kodak 8 megapixel sensor. It's still good today. I still have my very old Fujifilm point and shoot camera that has 2 megapixels. And when I look at those photos, I think my smartphone can outdo it any times now. And Frank Frame said yes at the 1.4 tele. I'll remember your conversation. Vicky said dinner time. Have a great week, guys. Stomach rumbles. Ta-da. Bye, Vicky. And good to see you anyway. I always enjoy your company. And yeah, I always love to read your comments. Her comments are great, I'm telling you. You should see some of my videos. Whenever Vicky comments, brilliant. Brilliant. Kobe, hello. And first camera was the Olympus EPM1, since upgraded to the EM10 Mark III and the EM5 Mark III. Who remembers or used that short-lived Olympus mini pen line? Oh man, yeah, I know. Loved adapting the OM system lenses on it too. Great. And yeah, Olympus is actually quite cool by actually allowing you to adapt some of the older stuff, and they do produce official adapters for you to adapt older OM lenses to your system. And obviously it's double, like the older lenses were designed for the 35mm, which is full frame. So you have to double the focal length. So if it's 50mm standard lens on the OM film cameras, will become a tele lens on your OMD. just be mindful of that. But it's pretty cool that allows you to do that still, and which is actually pretty something from a camera manufacturer. And Adam, the 17.1.2 arrives today, solves a bunch of issues indoor, both focal length and sharpness, light gathering, and yeah, it's pretty amazing. Try the 45 1.2 as well. That's really cool. I just saw one thing popped up from Victor. I'm just curious, a bit out of the subject. Did you find some new inspiration from the participants of the See the World contest? Victor is asking me about the contest. Yes, I see inspiration all the time, and which is actually pretty cool. I love your submission, by the way, and some of them are actually pretty interesting. And but like I said, it's out of my hand, and I have a bunch of judges to look at the photos, and hopefully they find it as interesting as I am. I'll let them decide which one will be the winning photos, and we shall see. By the way, everybody, if you guys are new here, new to my live stream, or new to my channel, or me, I'm running a See the World competition at the moment, so you can actually get some prizes here. And so thank you for mentioning that, Victor. So the website is seetheworld.gb.net. You can go there, have a look at it, and it's got some really cool prices. I do ship the prices out to wherever you are, and if you fancy having a little bit of a fun for a competition, you are very welcome to join. There are different genres there: street, macro, street, whatever. There's also a video open competition, so you can enter with your short film. All I need is 3 to 4 minutes long of a film that you produce. You can win some very expensive prizes. And so once again, I have to thank all the sponsors for this particular competition there. They donated lenses, tripods, so you can see the camera bags, streaming equipments, recorders, even DxO Photolab. The DxO is sponsoring this competition for giving out some licenses, so you can actually get the Elite license, so you can get Deep Prime free of charge. So they all worth a lot of money. The license alone for Photolab is over £150. And then some of the lenses, tripods. The tripods are from 3-legged thing, made in England. Carbon tripods, they're worth £400 each. And then they have some cine ball heads, cine fluid heads, and all expensive stuff. So like you got a lot of prizes to be won. So if you fancy some of those, you can go and check out the website at seetheworld.gb.net. And yeah, there is a small submission fee you need to put in just to cover the postage, and because it's a non-profit competition, so I don't make any money. Already pay a lot of stuff already to set up the website and all kinds of stuff. So all I'm asking for you is to basically trying to cover some of the postage. I need to send these prices out, and because some of them are fairly heavy. I'll show you one of them. It's quite big. So this is one of the boxes from the tripod. It's massive, right? It's big here. This is the carbon tripod here. So this a lot of stuff. And as a matter of fact, you can see a lot of boxes around me. They're all different prices lying around, and I don't have space. So by the way, I'm also extended the deadline as well. So now the deadline of this competition is end of this year, so 31st of December. So you got plenty of time to check out your images or videos you want to enter. And there's also a best editing a category. So if you are very cool with your Photoshop, and please consider doing that. That is pretty awesome as well. So anyway, so I'll leave you to it, and you can check that all out in my website, and you can see whether it's something that you may fancy, right? That would be quite something if you want to have a bit of fun and just trying to do something with this spare time where we've all been locked down at the moment. So I'm pretty sure you can find something. There's no limitation of when you take the photos or making the videos, as long as you make it, and that's fine. Right, thank you, Adam, for your super chat. Kim, okay, and let me just move my social here. If you want to follow my social media, it's all up here. taking the opportunity to say thank you for all the support, helped a lot in my skills, and did do a post for the Starry Sky. Thank you, Kim. Thank you for being here, and I'm always appreciative for all your support. To be honest, all of you. Like I mentioned in my last stream, when I said I almost quit my the YouTubes and stuff like that, and I wasn't really joking, and it's all because of all of you guys giving me all the energies and all the love that you care, and to make me continue, because it is a very challenging year for me, both personally and as a career, like business wise. It's very, very challenging. It's never easy in this sort of pandemic year, and when everything is shut down, there's no travel. It's tough for everybody, not just me. I'm saying to a lot of people as well. They all experience the same thing. So, but once again, I have to say thank you for all your support, and this is really from the bottom of my heart. Is something that I really do appreciate, and seeing all this comment, just chatting to me, it just makes my day. I'm always looking forward to my Wednesday live, because I can talk to you guys, I can really interact, and speak to you, and it is really amazing experience just by doing that. I've never, to be honest, last year, before this 2020, this pandemic, I've never done any live stream. I mean, I've done some Facebook Live every now and then just to say hi, but never to this extent. But this year, I'm falling in love with live streaming. And I've been doing live stream every Wednesday, and it's so cool just to know more about you guys, know more about you. Is now you're part of my family now. You're part of my friend circle. Is really cool. Like I said before, I really hope that one day I'll be able to travel again and maybe see some of you in your home cities, and we go out to shoot together. Let's go out and do some photo walk, and take me to places where you think is cool, and I would love to go there and just have a look, and just do something. Is something that would be my dream when this COVID pandemic thing ends somehow, some days. So thank you. Anyway, so channel JFT, although they have tried the various lenses, I can't feel satisfied with taking portraits, but landscape and night scene shooting got amazing results, sharpness sometimes. Still don't know which setting fits. I guess you just have to trial and error it, just to try it out, just to continue to explore. I would say that it's hard to really pinpoint the setting depending on what you shoot. When I teach my in my workshops, I always said to people, don't try to copy my setting. My setting could be different to you. You use a different different lens. You are standing in a different place compared to me, and you might interpret the scene completely differently. So it's really quite hard to kind of use the same setting as I am, but I can guide you. I can see your photos and look at your settings, and maybe I can suggest something else. But it's something that you may have to kind of do it over time and learn more over time and get more experience in shooting portraits and stuff like that. Then you realize you can achieve amazing results. And to be honest, like I mentioned, it doesn't need to be Micro Four Third, doesn't need to be Olympus. It could be anything. Once you get used to something, once you know your system, your lenses, and then you will be able to produce stunning work, regardless of systems and things like that. So don't worry about it. You get there. And Adam, is the face and eye detect improvement is be related to the new TruePic engines, while the AI functions is dedicated to the previous? No, it's not. It's relating to the processing performance, but like I said, because the EM1X has dual processor, so I'm pretty sure it has the power to do it, but whether they are willing to do it is another thing. When it's something, maybe they want to differentiate the EM1X line to the EM1 line, so it's really hard to say. They may want to reserve until the EM1X Mark II come out at some point. I don't know. And but I would like to see the new iron face detections on the EM1X. I'm very certain it's capable, and all because it's had dual AF. then don't forget that the AI function is very process intensive, so it needs a processor to do it. But we are not running the AI focus and the eye and face detection AI, not AI, the eye and face detection together. You have to switch off one to get the other one, right? You can't have them both on at the same time. It doesn't work like that. So that means that I'm pretty sure it has enough processing power to do that. If you can do AI stuff, I'm pretty sure you can do the eye and face detection. That's definitely. And I'm pretty sure that they're restricting it for they're trying to draw the line between the EM1X and the EM1 and the like normal EM1 line. So that's would be my guess, but who knows? I'm not really Olympus, like I don't know. I have a question, Barana. I have a question about the Pana 100-400. Can it use it with the MC14? No, because unfortunately the teleconverters are kind of designed specifically to talk to the lenses that they are made compatible with. So that means the Olympus teleconverters will always only be working with the Olympus lenses. However, you can use the Panasonic teleconverters with a Panasonic lens on an Olympus body. You can, but just not mix and match. This is kind of weird, but to be quite frank, I haven't got a Panasonic lens to test with, so I can't really say. But this is something that I've been told, and unless they are wrong, so far I believe that what they said is true. So that's why I'm telling you that. So I don't think it will work. The MC40 will only always going to be working with the Olympus lenses, but you can use the Panasonic teleconverters on the Olympus body if you really want to get extended reach. Do you think that chance to see Starry Sky AF on the EM1X? I don't know. Don't think so. For the same reason that I just mentioned, they may not want to include these features for the EM1X, and just because they are different class. I keep using the word class. Yeah, they could be a different class. They want to differentiate different models, and also, I think people who want to do Starry Sky AF won't want to do it with the EM1X because for obvious reasons. The EM1X aren't really designing for travel, and is big, is heavy, and they're really for people who want to balance out with bigger lenses, and also for really extreme tough environments. And the Starry Sky AF really suits the personality of the EM1 series, like the EM1 Mark II and Mark III, for instance. But obviously, Starry Sky AF is not compatible with EM1 Mark II because the processor is not powerful enough to do it. And so it will be from EM1 Mark III onward. So EM1 Mark IV in the future will have the Starry Sky AF. But having said that, the EM1X Mark II in the future may have the Starry Sky AF. They might just throw it in. I don't know. So it's hard to imagine, but I can't say. I don't know. And after Olympus, I may go Fuji. Possibly me too. If Olympus does disappear one day. Hi, bro. Yeah, man. Oh, I'm nearing the end. I'm nearing catching up. That's fantastic, right? I think most of the people are gone already, right? Are you guys still there? It's been going on for 2.5 hours. Oh my goodness me. So I think I'm going to end very, very soon. Please do a comparison between the Sigma 16 1.4 versus Panasonic 15 1.7 and Olympus 17 1.2/1.8. Woo! You have a request there, mate. Right. First of all, I would love to do one, and but at the same time, I need to find the lenses. And don't forget that as much as I want to do them, it costs me if I want to rent them, and I don't make enough money to cover those costs. So sometimes it's a little bit harder for me to do comparisons. I know a lot of you guys want to see them. If I got friends who have those lenses, I'll probably borrow it to try to do one. And it's really, really difficult. I know that a lot of YouTubers can do it because they have contacts or something else. I don't know. But being myself as a professional guy who use Olympus gears, I can, and also an ambassador, I can gain access to Olympus stuff or other brands that have approached me to do reviews with, like Per Gear and other things. And so I can do that. But having said that, and I have a potential we will be able to do Sigma lenses review next year. So stay tuned for that. So I might be able to do something with Sigma next year, and this is it's not official yet, but then maybe good news for you guys, because if you guys, I know a lot of you have been asking for Sigma lenses, so I may be able to finally do something with Sigma. So let's hope that that will be the case, and that I will be able to show you guys a lot more in the future. So stay tuned for this. Remember that this channel, subscribe and put on this notification so you know everything that's coming up. Go Peggy, good evening, and sorry that I'm late. No worry, mate. And I think it's getting late for everybody too, so I should be shutting myself. Right, Met Anime. Can you suggest a good vlogging lens for the GX85? Yes, this, my trusty vlogging lens, the 25. The 12 f2 lens. I've got my lens strap here, sorry, hopefully it focuses. So this is a very cool lens for vlogging. It's basically full frame 24mm equivalent. It's wide enough to do a head and shoulder shot if you're holding arm length, and it's got really good shallow depth of field, and if you really want that. It's also got very fast motor for focusing, and pretty nice, pretty sweet rendering, that's the word. And it's a little bit dear, but it's an f2 lens, full metal with manual clutch. You know, if you guys don't know what manual clutch is, it's a mechanism for Olympus lenses, certain Olympus lenses, by the way. You can pull down, and now it's a manual focus. It's really cool. You can see the focusing scale there as well. It's really cool. So you can do that, and that now it's AF enabled. So it's pretty cool to do vlogging, because sometimes if you focus something else, you really want to just get the manual adjustment straight away, you can pull back and you can do that straight away. It's really cool. And I finally catch up all the comments. That's cool. Right, enjoy your photography. You never know that when a pandemic could end. Oh yeah, tell me about it. Thanks, Jimmy. I will have to go to sleep. I know it's late, so I'm going to end it now. So thank you everyone for joining me today. It's been a long stream, very long. And but once again, I had fun, and I really had fun. So thank you guys. I hope you guys had fun as well. And don't forget that I'm running this every Wednesday at 3 p.m. And every week, of course, got slightly different topics. You may or may not join, depending on the subject, but I'm totally appreciate, total understanding, so you don't have to be here all the time. And but every time I see you guys, I'm super happy, super excited. You can see that I can talk non-stop, right? And but I'm a genuine guy. I just love interacting with you guys. I love photography. I love videos. I love making YouTube videos. And hopefully that I will continue to inspire all of you with my Olympus gears and Micro Four Thread stuff. But I also do other things as well, you know, like other tech stuff, and that will help you get your shots and stuff easier. And but anyway, in the next couple of weeks, I'll also be making a video for Christmas gift. Stay tuned for that videos. I'll be doing a giveaway. And hints, yeah. So stay tuned for that. So it'll be really cool to get something for free. Yeah, not like competition. Competition is a different thing, but this is a giveaway. So hopefully that you will get it for free. And I'm not going to say anything yet, because you will have to wait for that video to come out. It will be 2 weeks time. So I'm going to say that, and yeah, hopefully you guys will enjoy that. So until next time, mate, and I will see you all next time. And stay tuned for my usual video Tuesday and Sunday, which I will release one video on Tuesday, one video on Sunday, and live stream on Wednesday. That is my schedule for now, and I shall say goodbye to you all. And you guys have a good evening, good day, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are, and say goodbye. I don't know what to say now. I'm losing my voice. Anyway, so have fun, guys, and stay safe and stay creative, and keep on shooting whatever you enjoy, and show me your pictures in See the World group on Facebook. And we sharing this big community there. We're doing a big giant project to see all the photos from the corner of your world. Okay, bye for now, and have fun.